Okay, our break has finished. We can now proceed to our next and final topic for the night. Okay, so flowchart always comes in paper 1, paper 2. It also comes in paper 1. It always comes in paper 2 section A. So it is a compulsory topic. You have no option. You have to answer this one. I want all of you to be able to answer compulsory questions. Don't leave any behind. So please make sure you get this one right. So there are also only 2 versions of this question. Okay, it's either they bring one in pseudocode. Pseudocode is basically where they have text and then they're asking you to convert to a flowchart where you're supposed to use these shapes you're seeing on the screen. That is the first version. Okay, the other version, they'll bring it in flowchart. So this, where you're seeing these shapes, is called flowchart, and then the other one, text based, is pseudocode. So it's either they'll bring it in pseudocode text version, then they ask you to convert it to a flowchart using these shapes, or they'll bring it using these shapes and then they ask you to now write code. Okay, you now convert it to code. So for the first version, which is what we're going to start with, in pseudocode, you need to know what type of shapes to use at which steps. All right, so there are only 4 shapes you need to know. Okay, the first one is an oval. This one you're seeing right here. When do you get to use an oval? You use this oval when you are starting the program or when you are ending the program. Okay, so use the oval to start and end the program, and there are only 2 sets of words you are going to be using. There is start. If you start with start, then you need to end with stop. So start goes with stop, begin goes with end. All right, so if your program has started with start, it needs to end with what? Stop. You can't start with start and then you end with end. You put end here. That's going to be wrong. Okay, so these words are matched: start, stop, begin, end. Okay, so wherever you are required to write that word, you need to put it in an oval. So meaning you are going to write the word inside here, inside the oval: start, stop, begin, or end. All right, and then you come to this one, which is called a decision box or a diamond shape. This one is meant to make decisions. Wherever you see the word if in your code, it means that is your shape you are using. And then the if is converted to is. Okay, then at the end you're going to put a question mark, and then you're going to put an arrow on the right. Okay, you're going to put an arrow on the right, and then you're going to say yes here. Then you're going to put another arrow down here. You're going to say no there. So the decision box is always written like this: there's yes going to the right and no going downwards. Wherever you see the word if, you are using the decision box. Okay, and then when it comes to the parallelogram, this one is called an input or output box. Wherever you're going to see the word enter, display, print, the information is supposed to sit inside this shape, the parallelogram. Okay, enter these values. Okay, enter R, you are going to write enter R inside the shape. Okay, print this. Okay, display, this is where you're going to write that information inside the parallelogram. And then the rectangle is only used when you're dealing with formulas. Wherever you see a formula, you're supposed to write it inside the rectangle. The rectangle is called an instruction box. All right, so these are the only 4 shapes you need to know to answer the first version of the question, which comes like this. All right, this one is coming from 2022 paper 2 GCE. Okay, so you can see there's this word start, there's stop. We said whenever you see these words, you're supposed to use an oval. Okay, there's enter here, there's print here, there's print here. We said whenever you see the word print, enter, you are supposed to use the parallelogram. All right, for output and input, print is output, enter is input. So output or input, it is what? A parallelogram. So all you have to do here is, well, you've seen the word start there. You just need to draw your oval. Okay, I think for the sake of time, I'll just be drawing them manually. So they will be badly drawn, but you know it's an oval. So you put start inside there. Okay, I'm not going to be too smart about it, where I'm supposed to plug in actual shapes that are correctly drawn. Whenever you see the word start, okay, I can do better even if it's just drawing. My OCD is now fighting me. Okay, you put an over there, and then there's the word enter there. Okay, we said enter, it's an oval, it's a parallelogram. So I'm just going to draw a parallelogram. A parallelogram has slanting sides. It is different from a rectangle. Simply copy this information and put it in the parallelogram. So I'm just going to say enter, say enter. What are you entering? There are three here. There's R, R, L. Okay, code is case sensitive. If it is capital R, write capital R. Don't make it small letter r, comma, R, comma, small letter L. Alright, just copy the information you're seeing there. And then there's the word if there. We said whenever you see the word if, it means you are supposed to use a decision box. Okay, the decision box is the diamond shape, like that. This side you're going to have yes, and then going downwards here you're going to have no. Then you're going to convert the if so that you phrase it as a question. Is, all caps. Okay, what is, why following that? If is R greater than R, so is small letter r greater than capital letter R, you even put a question mark. That's how you do that one. Okay, then what follows? There is this word then. Okay, when you see this word then, it simply means you are now switching to this guy. So this, what comes after then, is what goes into your parallelogram, which is supposed to be on the right this side. Okay, what are you going to put there? You are simply going to copy the question I have circled here. I have put in that box. You're just going to say print. So here you just need to know which shapes to use. Everything is already there for you. Just copying and plugging into the shapes. Error what? Error, the value of R is not valid. That's all. Then you need to make sure that you are also including the actual punctuation. There's a closing quotation there. Those quotes, you add them. Of course, your parallelogram shouldn't be that fat. I don't know if that's the right way to use, but at least something like that. But so long as in parallelogram, okay, you are done there. So now there are cases where it says and re-enter. When it says and re-enter, you need now to loop it backwards. You put an arrow going to a point before entering those values. Because what are you testing here? You are testing whether R is greater than capital letter R. So if it says and re-enter, you need to go to a step before entering values. So you go upwards this step. Don't come down here. Don't bring the arrow here. That would be wrong. Okay, but if it doesn't say that, there is no need for you to put that arrow. You proceed to the next one, to the next code. Okay, so we scroll down. Allow me to scroll down. Okay, then it says else. So we are done with this line here. It says else s is equal to, whatever you see is equal to an equal sign, just know that that is a formula. You simply copy that formula, you put it into your rectangle. Remember we said formulas go into a rectangle. But then when it comes to operators, okay, in mathematics we have four main operators. We have subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division. Okay, these two are written just as they are, but multiplication is written, so multiplication in flowchart is equal to what? An asterisk, a star. Right, that star on your phone, star 115 hash. That one you like pressing when you've received money. Okay, and then the division is represented by what? A forward slash. All right, ijat stroke yaparejija. Yeah, that forward slash, it means division. So wherever you have division, if let's say for example you're trying to say 2 divided by 4, you are going to say it as 2 forward slash 4. All right, or stroke niam colonial. So for you people who are modern, it's better you say forward slash, not stroke. All right, yeah, so that is that. So here, that's why how come you're seeing that asterisk? It means multiplication there as well. So simply copy that formula and put it in your rectangle. So just draw a rectangle there, down there. Okay, and then you're going to copy that formula. Just going to say capital S is equal to, there's pi there, pi times, there's an asterisk there, times open bracket capital R plus small letter r close times a again. Just copy them the way they are appearing. You are done. Okay, so now when you're converting code to flowchart, you always skip this guy. You always keep that word and if. All right, take note of this word because we need it the time we'll be converting from flowchart to code. We need to remember that there's this guy we are skipping. We now need to put him back. All right, so whenever you see the word and if, you are converting to flowchart, you skip it and then you go to where it says print. Okay, we say it print, this is an output input box, the parallelogram. So there is print there, meaning we need to display something. So you put an arrow again. Arrows always have to point downwards here, coming downwards. So that is a rectangle, too big. We're just writing printing S there. So you put another parallelogram there because the parallelogram represents input and output. So it seems just say print S, like that. And then you put another arrow, there is a word stop there. So you're just stopping. Just put an over there, and then you say stop. You are done. You have your 5 marks. As simple as that. So what is important here is knowing the shapes and when to use them. Okay, the mostly used shapes you have the parallelogram and the diamond. Okay, for the formula you probably just have one formula in one code, or maybe 2 at most. So you just need to know how to use the parallelograms the most. Enter, display, print, that is a parallelogram. It's an input output box. All right, so that is that. Okay, do we have any questions before we proceed to the next question, the next example? Are there any questions? Okay, we proceed to the next example. Let me check what I did. Okay, I can clear the screen like that. We go to the next one. Same thing again. There is the word start here. This one was in 2024, written by the grade 12s. Start. Wherever you see the word start, oval. You put an oval shape. You write start inside. You put an arrow coming downwards. Enter. We say it for entering values. Input. It's a parallelogram. So just write enter. What you are seeing there, copy and write in the box. Enter R, S. Again, you put an arrow going downwards. What is it saying? If. We said wherever you see the word if, it's a decision box. Okay, you put your decision box there. And then you are going to convert the if to is so that you make it a question. Is S less than R? So you are going to say is. That is small letter S. Looks small letter S less than small letter R. You even put a question mark. This side you're going to put yes. Down there you're going to put no. Okay, what is following that? So usually to the right you need to just put a parallelogram here because you have to display something. What are we displaying? It just says print. Okay, so print is an output function, right? So what are we printing? Print error s is not valid. So print capital P, there is an opening single quote here. All right, so you add it like that. Error, what is that? Comma, s is not valid. Is not valid. What else? You close there, and then you close your parallelogram. So again here there is no and re-enter, so there is no need for you to put an arrow taking us back to this one. So just leave it the way it is. You proceed to the next line. Okay, there is now else, so you skip this guy. There is a formula here. How did I say you know that there is a formula? Equals. All right, where does a formula go? Into a rectangle. So you draw your rectangle there, copy that formula, put it inside the rectangle. So a is equal to pi times r times s. So times, I said it's an asterisk, r asterisk s. So you don't put the asterisk down here like this. No, it has to be superscript. Your r is down here, the asterisk is at the top, like it's a power. Okay, you are done there. There's this word end if. We said you always skip this guy here. And if you go to the next one, what is it saying? Print a. Print is what? An output. Output, we said it's just a parallelogram again. What are we printing? It just says print a. So just write print a inside the parallelogram. And you are done. Next thing, what are you doing? You are stopping. There is stop at the end there. So simply put an oval. Inside the oval, write the word stop. 5 marks. Yamahala. So just need to practice, and you get it right. Okay, I don't see any questions. No hands that are raised. So I don't know if that is correct English, but yeah, we now proceed to the last example. Start, there is start there again. So sometimes they'll just change, they'll just put begin here, and then they'll put end here. All right, but the format is just the same. Or sometimes they'll just lengthen the code. So start, we said is an of. You have that of start, and then you put an arrow. There is enter, so I've done this one. Enter, we said whenever you see enter, it's a parallelogram. What are we entering? Enter E and S. So we say enter capital E, comma, capital S. Put an arrow again. What is next? Display error message. Oh no, not really. There is if there now. Whenever you see if, what does it tell you? A diamond. Decision box. You need to make a decision. There is yes, there is no. That's how come it's called a decision box. Is what? S less than E. Okay, is S less than E? You even put the question mark. Is S less than E? Put the question mark at the end. Then I said what comes after then should go into the parallelogram on your right. So this side there is yes, down here there is no. So you put a parallelogram here. It says display what? Error message. This one here. Just say display. Remember I said pay attention to the quotations also, the quotes, the punctuation. I mean, there's an opening quote there, you may not see it. Error. Okay, message can be down here, the sake of space. There's also a closing quote there, like that. And then down here, what is following? There is else. You skip the else there. there is this one which says probability is equal to E of divided by S. So just copy what you're seeing there, don't change anything. We said formulas go into a rectangle. Okay, so you write or draw your rectangle rather, then I'm just going to say probability is equal to E divided by S. Remember we said the forward slash means division. Then there's this guy end if here, the guy we skip. Okay, you proceed to the next line which says display probability. I said wherever you see the word display, enter, print, that's a parallelogram. So you've seen that the parallelogram is the most used shape. What are we displaying? We said display probability. Like that, and then the code ends with stop, and you are done. 5 marks. Do you have any questions before we now switch things around? We now start writing the code ourselves. Okay, let know, is it you are not clear or what's the question? You can unmute your mic and ask if you have a question so that I can explain before we proceed to the next one. Or you can type, whichever you are comfortable with. I presume you are typing. Okay, we'll wait for you to type. So otherwise, that is that. The goal here is knowing the shapes. Once you know the shapes, you know where you apply the shapes. Everything else you're just copying, plugging into the shapes. You're not writing anything of your own. You're not supposed to start changing values, changing the case, okay, from uppercase to lowercase. No, this is code. Code is sensitive. All right, so make sure you follow the right punctuation and the right case. If they've put a capital letter, write a capital letter. Small letter, write a small letter. You switch things around, the code won't run. Mr. Emmanuel knows. Okay, code is very sensitive and petty. Just forget a comma, it doesn't run. So make sure you are also considerate of the sensitivity of the code. Okay, Cherry, is that a question that I'm supposed to wait for, or we are good to go? Okay, we're good to go. Great. All right, so this is 2334. I don't know if people are ready to transition to the other lesson just now, or they may need a short break. And by short break, I mean just like 2 to 3 minutes break. We just have a few people remaining, so we can table this one right here and now. Do we go for a break, a 3 minutes break? If yes, you can respond with a thumbs up. If no, you can stay quiet. Okay, I'll give you 10 seconds to respond. Go for a break, thumbs up. No, we transition to the other one. Stay quiet, don't respond. Okay, great. We proceed to the next topic, direct. So now, the next one, we are converting flowchart to code. The only thing you need to know about this one is that if you can compare the previous codes, we have there's what we call indentation. Okay, indentation. So code is indented. So to indent basically means to leave some spaces. You can see this one in the is let me, if I put lines, if I were to put lines here like this, you notice to say there are words that are in the same line. Okay, you write this word, you go inwards a bit, you write that code, you go inwards a bit. That is called indenting, where you are leaving spaces. Okay, but there are certain words that are supposed to be in the same line. For example, you can see start is in the same line with stop. Enter is in the same line with what? Display. So this is the format we are going to be captured. This is what we are going to be maintaining when writing our code. All right, we'll make sure that start and stop are in the same line, as you can see. Enter and display, the last display, should be in the same line as well, and then everything else here should be in between. Okay, if you go to the other question, you see it's also the same format. All right, you can see that start here and stop, same line. Enter and print, same line. Then the rest here. So you can simply capture that simple method. Okay, start, stop, same line. The first enter and the last print or display, same line. Everything should be in the same line in between. Okay, you go to the other question, you notice it's the same thing. What have I done? I've minimized everything. Just get back my windows. All right, we scroll down to the next question. Okay, so here I would say as a software developer, this was wrong. Okay, this one and this one was supposed to be pushed inwards. Okay, and these also are supposed to be pushed inwards. But if you notice here, the examiner made a mistake here. They put start and enter, print, and that in the same line, which is wrong. So the reason why we indent code is to make it easy for you to read the code. All right, to see which block of code, to separate the blocks of code, in other words. All right, so that is why. If I can quickly show you something, I don't want to complicate things, but I just want to simplify things. So let me not take you to my code on my computer to show you what actual indenting is or indentation is, but that is that. So meaning all we are doing here is we are just copying the information from these shapes here and putting them into code. So here you see start, just write the word start. Okay, then there is this one enter. We said you go inwards a bit, so maybe you leave that space, then you start writing from after that line. So you can simply say enter. You just copy what you're seeing, R, H, comma, R, that's all. Okay, you go to the next shape, which is this one. Remember, this is, you are changing it to from if to is to make it a question. So you need to change it back to if. So where you see is, you are going to say, again you enter inwards a bit, then you're going to say if. Okay, then you copy this stuff here, you remove a question mark. R is greater than, so you just say R is greater than capital R. Then let me just say this question mark, you convert it to then to simplify things. Okay, you've converted everything in that box. You've converted the if to is, you copied this, the question mark, you converted it to then, all caps. All right, this yes, you skip it, then you come to that code. Okay, that text in that box, simply come under if, same line with if, copy this information and write it down. What are you going to say? Print, double quotes, error, comma, R is not valid. You close with double quotes, no full stop at the end. Okay, you are done here. Forget this arrow coming down this side, just forget it. You don't have to write anything about it. you also skip the no. Yes and no, you skip them. You don't write anything concerning these. Okay, except the no, you're going to convert it to else. All right. So, okay, let me say the yes here, you convert it to then, and then the no here, you convert it to else. You see, in the previous code, we had else before the formula, right? I'll show you in a moment. Else, if we go to the previous question, just before the formula, you'll see the word else. Okay, it's right here. All right, even if you scroll down, you see it here. Just before the formula again, there's else. Okay, you come down again, just before the formula, there's else. So to make it easy for you to remember, allow me to say the no up here, this yes, you convert it to then, and you know to say both of these are supposed to be all caps, capital letters. Then there's this no down here, you're going to convert it to else. Okay, like that, and then you copy the formula. Don't change anything, just copy what you are seeing. All right, so we're going to copy that formula. We're going to say v is equal to, open bracket, there is pi there, there's an asterisk, there is h, there is a closing bracket, /3, so that is divided by that, there's another asterisk there. Okay, open bracket, r to the power, just copy everything. Okay, for the sake of time, I'll just leave it there, but just copy everything the way it is appearing here. All right, and then now we're about to end. Remember, there's a guy we were forgetting. Which guy was that? End if. All right, so just after the formula, there's end if, all caps. This guy, we kept on skipping him, but now you need to remember him. All right, and then you stop. All right, so no, not really stop, you print now. So the last print, remember we said the last print and the first enter have to be in the same line. So somewhere down here, I'm supposed to now write print somewhat in the same line. Print what? V. They are saying print V here, so I write that again. In the same line with start, I need to write stop to end the program. 5 marks just for doing that. Okay, so let me just run through what we have done. Okay, start, you write your start, you go inwards a bit, you copy this. Okay, again you go inwards a bit, so I'm just going inwards twice. All right, I just want to simplify things for you, don't want to indent it complicatedly, if there is such a word, or in a complicated manner. Okay, there's is there, you convert it to if. Remember, you do the opposite now, you copy what you are seeing there, you forget about the question mark. Yes, you convert it to then. Okay, no, okay, sorry, after you say then, you write this message on the next line, which was print, but in the same line with what? With if, as you are indenting. Just copy what you are seeing there. Then there is, if you come down here, so from here you need to come down here towards the no direction. So we said no, you convert it to what? Else. After else, what is following? There's a formula here. Just copy everything the way it is appearing, put it in front of the word else. Okay, then here, this is the last print before you are stopping. Okay, just before the last print, there was an end if we kept on omitting, so you need to write it back like that, and then you simply copy the print V, that one, and then you stop. Make sure the print, the last print, this one, is in the same line with the first enter. Okay, then stop and start should also be in the same lines. Now with what we have covered, let us try and practice another question. This one is the one we wrote in 2024. Okay, quite simple as well. So it's starting with start, so I simply write my start, and then I leave some space, I go inwards a bit, I say enter r, comma, is that theta or 0? Looks like 0. Theta, it's theta. How have I figured it out? Down here there's a formula there. It says theta over 360. Okay, so you write your theta there. We're done with these two shapes. Okay, there is there. We said you go inwards again. You're just going inwards twice. 1, 2. The next one is if. Okay, for this type of a code, right? What is following? R less than theta. So simply write R less than theta. You don't write anything there. There is yes there. We said when you see the word yes, you need to write then. What follows? You need to write this message on the next line. You're just going to say, but in the same line with if, print, open brackets, error, comma, R is not valid. Then you also close with a closing quotes there. Once you are done this side, you come towards the no. We said when you say no, you need to write else. What follows after else? There's a formula. Copy that formula, put it in front of else. So just say area is equal to open bracket theta over 360, okay, times pi times r, then power, it's that arrow pointing upwards, then the value comes here. So this means r squared. That's how you write code. So they are going to say a 2 there in front of the arrow pointing upwards to show that this is r squared. So this is the area for finding the sector, area of a sector, this one. Theta over 360 times pi times r squared. Okay, we have copied that formula. There is the last print there. We're about to stop. What are we supposed to write? And if. And then the last print should be in the same line as your enter here. So I'm going to say print. What am I printing? Print area. So it just print A. Then stop should be in the same line with stop, with start. I write stop there. And that's your code. You are good to go. Alright. Finally, we look at our final question, which came in 2022, written by the grade 12s. Okay, same format again. There is start there. You write your word start, leave some space, go to the next shape, enter. So leave some space, enter S, comma, R, comma, capital N. There is there. You said we go inwards again. You indent inwards, indent inwards, and then you say if S is less than what? 0. There I think it's 0. Okay, there's yes there. We said you write then. Okay, what do you do? Go to the next line and copy that message. Print, open parenthesis, error, S must be positive. Okay, you close parenthesis. Parenthesis and not open parenthesis, open double quotes, close double quote. Parentheses are brackets. Alright. Okay, you are done this side. What do you do? Go to no. What does no mean? Else. Capital letters. Else. Okay, if you want actually, you can even write the formula under else on the next line after else. Okay, or you can put it in the same line. D is equal to small letter s times asterisk r divided by 100, and then again times n. Okay, there is the last. We're about to stop now. We're about to finish. There is the last display there. Remember in the previous questions we had print. Before you stop, what are you supposed to write? There's that guy, that special guy, and if. And then you write that in the same line with enter. I'm going to write display what? Display D. Capital D. Again in the same line with start, I'm going to write stop. And you are done. That is how you convert flowchart to code. At this point, what you now need to do is practice. That is how it's going to sink in. Please, this is a very simple question. If you don't practice now, by the time you're getting into the exam, you'd have forgotten what we're doing now. So tomorrow, as you wake up, whenever you have time, try to practice this. Do both, converting flowchart to code, to pseudocode. Okay? I'll try to share some questions first thing in the morning, and I already have videos explaining how to answer those questions, because the questions that I will share, some of them have more shapes than what we have covered. Yeah, so the idea is to help you continue learning. Not exactly what I've given you here is what I'll give you as an assignment. Yeah, I also have other lessons, in-depth lessons on these ones, not the simplified ones like these ones. If you want to understand more or just want to revise more, or currently I'm recording this session, so I'll simply post the links in the group, and then you can still revisit and relearn. Yeah, otherwise this is all you need to know for flowchart. So at this point we have done set notation, we have done quadratic equations, we've also done flowchart. That's a total of about 15 marks from the 52 that you're supposed to earn. Okay, if we have no questions, the time is 23:52. We're within our planned time. If there are no questions, then we're going to call it a night from here. Tomorrow we are going to start looking at the next how many topics? Should be 3 as well. Yeah, so today we have looked at set notation, quadratic equations, flowchart. Tomorrow we'll look at matrices, probability, and geometric progression. These ones will just take us a few minutes, especially this one. Okay, followed by this one, and then finally this is the antagonist for tomorrow's session, the child's fight each. Okay, so here you get about almost again about should be 4 marks. Let me just quickly open a question paper so that we can count the marks, okay, that you're aiming for. So right now math paper 2 section A carries 52 marks. Okay, this advert is running, just give me a moment so that we can quickly count the marks together. You see how well we'll be once we are done. Come on, my data is on, so there's an advert I need to watch before the exam paper opens. By the way, here's a tip: if you don't want the ads to be running, you can actually just switch off your data when you're before opening the application. You won't be able to see the adverts, so you can download the that's what I'm doing right now to save me time. So I just close the app, switch off my data, reopen, and then it opens the downloaded question paper direct. So we did set notation. The total is 5 marks. So we have, let's count, we have 5 for set notation, 5 for the quadratic equation, and 5 for flowchart. Okay, then there are those bonus questions like what questions? Algebraic expression, those that come like this. Let's say for example 1 over x minus 1. Okay, we covered these already. 3x minus 1, these types of fractions. So this one is 3 marks. Okay, so 3 marks. And then there's also the calculus for upper and lower limit, which I think we're yet to cover. That one is also 3 marks. And then what will be we are going to cover tomorrow? Tomorrow we are going to cover probability. Probability is how many marks? That is also 5 marks. And then we go to what's that? GP is 2. That's oh, there's also that simplifying for a lot of values. 4x squared y over maybe 14 x cubed, something like that, you know those ones. Okay. We've already done those. That one is 2 marks. Okay. And then, so tomorrow now what are we doing? We're doing not earth geometry. We're doing matrices. Matrices, the total is 4 marks. You can add the 4 there. And then we go to probability. I already counted probability, right? Yeah. What else are we looking at tomorrow? So matrices, probability. Okay, this is today. That's that equation. The other one, the 5 is for matrices, so I've not counted probability, so probability is there, the 4 marks. And then GP, what do we have under GP? GP, we have how many marks? I want you to be practical about this. GP, we have that's 1, 2, 3. GP has 7 marks. So now let us add everything. Okay, because this is what we intend to cover in the crash course. So this is 5 plus 5, 10, 15, 15, 20, and then this will give us 20, 30, 30, we have 30, 30, this will give us 36, and this is 36, 39. So that is, so far that is 39 out of 52, which is not bad. All right, if you top up with construction, which is about 7 marks, that will give you 40 what? 45 out of 52. Then you top up vectors. Now finally you have your 52 marks. You see, it's all about strategy. Okay, so that is that. Then we go to section B and we finish up and you are done with paper 2. So yeah, that is that. Otherwise, thank you for staying long, for staying late with me. This time you're sacrificing will pay off as the results come out. Yeah, so make sure you also subscribe for this one for tomorrow, so that you can be able to gain at least these marks that are indicated here. All right, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, so otherwise that is that. Thank you for your time once again. I'll try to share some questions based on what we've covered. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, and yeah, see you tomorrow.